feeling down all night.
Podcast'imize hoş geldiniz. Uzun zamandır podcast çekemiyoruz. Biliyorsunuz bizim iki ayrı tip videomuz var. Bir Bodrum Bizden Sorulur videolarımız. Onlara aynen her pazar devam ediyoruz. Podcast'imizde perşembeleri yayınlıyorduk ama bu aralar biraz böyle bir sıkıntılar oldu. Podcast stüdyomuzla alakalı fazla yağmur yağmasıyla alakalı bazı problemler oldu. Şu anda halletme aşamasındayız. O yüzden bugün değişik bir lokasyonda çekimimizi yapacağız, podcast'imizi yapacağız. Bugün Bodrum'un en güzel otellerinden The Marmara'nın içerisindeyiz. Hava inanılmaz yağışlı, bayağı ciddi anlamda dışarı çıkamayacağız kadar kaotik. O yüzden iç mekanda yapıyoruz. Normalde alışılageldik bir şey değil. Ben sözü Cengiz abiye bırakıyorum. Konuğumuz var, çok önemli bir konuğumuz. Çok güzel bir podcast sizi bekliyor.
Teşekkürler Arda. Thank you very much Arda. Well, today, ladies and gents, we have Ambassador Hendrik van de Velde, who's from the Kingdom of Belgium, and he's the Belgian ambassador to Türkiye. Welcome to Bodrum, first of all. Welcome to Muğla. And
welcome.
We'll start off with a couple of questions, if we may. First of all, how long has it been here in Türkiye that you've been working as the ambassador?
A bit more than 1 year now in Ankara. So it still feels like the beginning of my term, I must say.
Okay.
How do you like Ankara so far? I mean, we love Bodrum. We don't care about Ankara too much. But how do you feel about Ankara?
Well, if you ask the question, I'm a fan of Ankara. I spoke about that with some journalists a few weeks ago, by the way, because it has a special vibe.
Yeah,
you know, I'm attached to the architecture that's very mixed, the nature, the climate, the people that are there. So I'm one of those people who like to be in Ankara.
To be honest with you, we're both from Ankara, including Nedim. We're all from Ankara, so we love it as well.
It was the right answer.
It was the right answer.
You know, we saw it on social media about your dialogue, and we are so honored, and we send each other in our WhatsApp groups. And a friend of mine who owns a restaurant in Ankara has told me that he's a customer of ours. You know him very well, so you're becoming a famous people in Ankara, I suppose.
It's from the heart. It's from the heart.
Yeah, definitely.
Ambassador is taking tours, visiting different places around Türkiye. As far as I understand, you have these official visits to places where you have an honorary consulate. So tell us a little bit more about why you came to Muğla and how were your meetings and what are the outcomes?
Yeah. Well, the general principle is that, you know, to be an ambassador in such a big country like Turkey, you really need to go out of Ankara and Istanbul. You have to be in Ankara and Istanbul, certainly, but you need to understand the differences of every region. I mean, the climate is different, the economy is different, the people have sometimes different accents, different ways of life because of culture. It's very diverse, and to understand the country, you need to go. I mean, you can read about it, but as usual, you need to go, talk to the people, and feel what the atmosphere is, what the difficulties are sometimes of the regions, what the assets are as well. And this makes, I think, makes us better understand the country and respond to the needs, but also improve our bilateral relations. So we have about 7 honorary consuls in all through Turkey. I think it's Bursa, Izmir. Here now, of course, Bodrum, Antalya, Mersin, Gaziantep, and we opened recently in Eskişehir.
Oh, okay. So a couple of more you need. You need some people in the Black Sea, probably.
That's true, and it's probably going to be one of my next trips without a honorary consul, but the Black Sea, the East,
as well.
And maybe a bit center Anatolia around Kayseri as well, because there are important industries and a lot of Belgians of Turkish origin come from Kayseri as well.
Okay.
Oh, that's strange.
So how many Belgian people live in Turkey? Do you know?
Belgian, well, officially in the consulate and the embassy, we have a consulate general in Istanbul, and the embassy is in Ankara. It's about 7,000 people who are registered. But it's probably much more Belgians, especially Belgians of Turkish origin.
Because they don't need to register to you.
It's free. It's not a must. It's not an obligation by law. Many people choose not to do it. So
there's a myth amongst people who come from Emirdağ who say that half of Brussels is from Emirdağ. Is that correct?
It's I don't know if that's correct, but it's quite clear that probably the second best-known city in Turkey after Istanbul is Emirdağ.
Oh my God, I didn't know that. It's so strange for me. What about Muğla and Bodrum? I assume there are lots of Belgian people in here.
Yeah.
I met some of them in here.
That's well. The reputation of Muğla Bodrum is new because that's because of the international a bit luxury people type of reputation it gets. So now we know about Bodrum. It's this idea, paradise on earth in the Mediterranean.
Yeah.
But also it's starting to get a reputation of it's for fancy people. It's for stars and so it's something we have to look at. By the way, if it shouldn't become too exclusive, where you might lose some normal people.
This is a very good point, actually. What would you recommend? I mean, in terms of tourism, this is something we've been discussing on the podcast quite often. This dichotomy between cheap tourists, well, those who come to drink and the beach and drink, etc., and those who are, like you said, the high end, the exclusive high end. But there's such a big group in between. For attracting Belgian tourists, for example, who would prefer the in between. If they do, what would you recommend? What would you recommend that Bodrum? What kind of policies should Bodrum pursue in order to attract more Belgian tourists, for example?
No, indeed, to attract we don't have very high, very rich people. We would, but you would have a good, probably 1 million people or even more that have good incomes. And they would look for quality tourism, individual tourism, quality tourism that is comprehensive, that mixes different aspects. Of course, you would come for the Mediterranean, vibe, the beauty of typically the creeks, the bays, the boat. We all come for that. That's obvious. You need that in summer when you are from Northern Europe. But you would want, quality food, and sustainable, respectful of environment. These are important things nowadays when you travel. It gives satisfaction to know that you are doing something that's sustainable. I would say cultural, historical tourism, archaeology. You have that all here. You want
lots of it.
Lots of it, but it should be. In the package that you offer, you know that you're going to have your sunny day, that you will learn something about history and that you will have some emotions around the different parts, historical periods that you can find in Turkey. And you find in Turkey probably more historical periods than anywhere else.
Yes.
You don't just come for, Byzantine or Greek, all the Greek heritage. You come for Neolithic, you come for Ottoman, you have this mix that's quite unique.
Yeah.
So I would say play on all the strengths that this region has: nature, the sea, the food, sustainable food, and definitely historical heritage. That makes all the difference,
Ambassador, could we propose? We have a university in Muğla, Sıtkı Koçman University, and it's quite a big university, and they have an archaeology department as well. Maybe we can entice them to get in contact with the embassy as well, to find out if they can propose certain, for example, archaeological sites that they would like to cooperate with Belgian, other universities or
universities,
or
usually.
NGOs or whatever.
Usually universities. We have we've had a long partnership on Sagalassos, not that far from here, and that's the University of Leuven. But all our big universities have archaeological departments, so you're actually right. It's something that an embassy
we should get them
could propose.
It's a great proposition.
Correct.
Definitely. And in terms of Muğla itself, we also have tourism. Of course, it's a big issue, but in Muğla there's also agriculture, and Belgium is one of these countries that is very developed in terms of modern technology, use of modern technology in agriculture, etc. So do you see any compatibility or anything that we can do further with Belgium and Muğla?
Yes, I think in general, what we have is we have a lot of small, smart companies, and it goes, from high-tech space industries to the food industry, and for instance, there is I visited a company in Antalya province, and I think that can be applied.
We
to
don't
Bodrum.
like them; they're competitors.
Yeah, this is why I'm enticing you, but it's a Belgian company with a joint venture with Turkish. Actually, they raise bees. They raise bees to pollinize the tomato greenhouses.
Oh, that's strange.
So they raise
That's new.
bees, they sell, it's a box, and you buy a box for, 2,000 tele, I think. And then for a couple of months, these bees pollinize the greenhouses. You see, I mean, this type, it's an example that I give to, you see, this is the private sector, new technologies. Sustainability, responding to climate change, I see here the mandarins, and this type of solutions is what Belgium can bring. Of course, we're not going to come with big financial schemes. That's not. But this is something that we offer.
That's
know-how.
Very important.
And it's a Belgian company, but I went. It's completely operated, of course, by Turkish engineers and bioengineers, and I think it's fascinating.
How is Belgium in terms of water? Because you know that although we have a lot of rain here, and there's a lot of rainfall in Muğla, it's one of the most rain-rich regions of the country.
But nobody knows about it. Everybody says that Bodrum is out of water in the summer, but it's so usual for here to rain at the winter times and sun in the.
We'll be very honest with you. This is an internal thing, but we'll tell you, Master. We have a big mismanagement of water resources.
Yeah.
So
and the information, misinformation
at the same time. So what we do need is good examples of good companies from the private sector as well, because the money will be coming in from the World Bank, IMF, etc., EBRD funds, etc. But we do need good companies that are good in water resources, for desalination, for example. Is there any possibility of cooperating with Belgian companies in that regard?
There is, and I think not just companies. That's a very interesting thing, because you would believe Bodrum and Belgium in terms of climate and nature. What do they have in common? Here it's drought, there in Belgium it rains all the time. Well, no, you're saying it rains a lot here, and you're right. It rains a lot in Belgium, but paradoxically we have the same problem. The problem is that we don't keep the water, because we've been so used to have always rain. But climate change gets in, we consume more and more water, of course, because we get richer, developed, more dense. And we have the same problem. Although it rains a lot, we don't have the technologies, or we haven't implemented the technologies to keep the water.
Okay.
That's something I think we should cooperate on, because now it's changing. I mean, also the government in Belgium, it's regional governments who do that, it's the Flemish government. So it's with companies, you need the technologies, but you also, of course, need the investments, and it needs to be a cooperation between the public sector and the private. And the key is, how do you keep the water that's falling from the sky? Because there is enough. There is enough. The other day, I saw some Ottoman cisterns around, right? What's the name again? Kümbet, the Kümbet. So, of course, the population was much less, so that probably sufficed at that time. But the principle was there. So we should apply that principle to modern life with modern technologies. And there we can cooperate. There is, I'm going to speak about Antalya again. Are you fine with it?
No, you're fine. You're far away. It's a bigger competitive, so we respect them. But
we're going to become bigger.
There's also a Belgian company based there that is making solutions for retreating water, used water. At rather small scale, can be applied to hotels, can be applied to homes, where you use wastewater and and that's also a great solution. You need, it's not just one technology that you need, it's more things.
Collecting, every household, every new household should have collectors on top, for example. The technology is there now, and it should be done.
There was laws, but nobody was talking about them. Like 2 years ago, they said that new project has to have a whole pool for just collecting the water in the winter time to use it as just for flowers and greenery for the summertime. But right now, nobody is doing it.
It's also our job. It's also our job to be able to tell the people, we should do this, especially in Bodrum. We need
collecting water is, really that we have to work together with it. We have to research about all in Europe what they're doing, because this year there was a lot of rains until now. It's not a usual year; it's a rainy year, but still the dam in Mumcular is our the most used dam. It's like 7% full. I'm so surprised about that, you know.
Oh, that's due to mining, but we're not going to go into
Yeah,
those
no. But
Anyway,
we definitely have to find solutions. Definitely to use new technologies to collect it.
Ambassador, we've been dealing with Muğla and Bodrum specifically, but how is the relationship between Belgium and Turkey from your perspective? How's it going so far? What are your interests areas that you're working on? How do you see the political relations? How do you see the economic relations in a macro format for the audience here in Bodrum?
Yeah, well, Belgium, Turkey, we have three main things that define that relation. Of course, it's embedded in the EU-Turkey relation. You know that defines everything. The relation we have, the customs union.
Did he just say visa?
I will come to that because all of my friends are calling me right now.
That's our consulate general in Istanbul. So indeed, the EU-Turkey relation is what embeds all this. But then, of course, we are an industrial country. It's our foreign policy is very much determined by our economic and commercial relations. That's what we live off. And the third main aspect that defines our relation, I would say, is the importance of the Belgian-Turkish community. I mean, from the 1960s, there have been a lot of migrants, and we spoke about that mainly from the region of Afyon, Emirdağ, Eskişehir. Now these people are the third generation, they're completely Belgian. And so things have changed a lot since these years. And I believe also it's something we haven't explored enough, this bond, you know, that...
Have you been to Emirdağ?
Yes, I've been.
Oh, you have?
We did an official visit there recently. I mean, really to state, like, you know, we have to do more with that common history. And I believe that's. I mean, we probably have 280,000 people in Belgium. We are a population of 11 million and something.
Wow.
That are from Turkish descent.
Wow.
And we believe almost half of them from the region of Afyon, Emirdağ.
Oh my God, I didn't know that. It's so strange. People moved from there.
How's the economic relationship? What's the size of the economic?
The size is good. We're around 11.5 billion euros. That places us probably number 5, 6 in Europe in terms of trade in goods. Also a billion in services. That's not bad.
That's good.
From your side, we import. It's considered as import. Tourism is an import because we and
tourism is included in that.
Yeah, tourism is included. So it's a high level. I mean, we're one of the important economic partners of Turkey. For us, Turkey is the number 4 partner outside the EU, outside UK, US, China, and then it's Turkey. So that's big. It's a big.
That's good.
Yeah.
That's good.
So in terms of volume, importance of trade, it's good.
I would imagine even in the EU, we're probably higher than most other EU member states, probably.
Yeah, we probably would be after definitely the neighboring countries, Spain, Italy, and then it would certainly be Turkey. Investment as well. The Turkish Ministry of Foreign Affairs places us at number 8 investor worldwide. You know, that's good. Because of the stock of investments over the last 20 years. This is what defines a bit how much.
So you need to work on the investments in Muğla. For sure.
Well, maybe with these companies we spoke about, and that would be good. Definitely.
Water projects for sure, archaeology for sure.
Definitely, and some maybe residential projects for us as well for the real estate.
You know, he's involved in real estate also, so he wants all the investors here in the real estate, whereas we want it in tourism and agriculture. You know, it's a different.
You need to keep some greenery around.
Exactly.
Yeah, definitely. There could be a lot of projects with using the greenery as well. You know, not like that. But the thing is, you know, all of my friends are calling me when I tell them that we are going to host you. You should definitely ask about the visa problems. You know, that's, I suppose it's usual for you that there are lots of questions.
Of course, it is an issue, and we have to talk about issues. No problem. Yeah.
You know, the problem is there is no like standards. I suppose, you know, sometimes people like with same situation of economic status, like family status, could get a visa, and sometimes they could not. The problem is the standards. It has to be a standard, but it has to be applied for everybody, like the same. Why do you think that it's not the case right now?
I can tell you why it's not the case. First of all, I think it's important to state that we would like visa liberalization. We would like also, as a Belgian ambassador, my government, the aim is to get rid of visa for Turkish citizens. It's not that, because the belief is, we want to keep Turkey out of Schengen. No, we're not ready because of, the Turkish government has to fulfill a few steps that are difficult for Turkey. Yeah, they are, exactly. It's difficult to make, we understand that, but, it's part of the agreement. Other countries like Kosovo and Albania recently got visa liberalization because they fulfill these benchmarks. It's more difficult for Turkey. We know why, but it's important to state we want Turkish citizens to be able to have freedom of movement. For the moment, not possible. So we are in this situation where it's Schengen, and it looks like one area. Once you're in there, you can travel freely, but it's 26 administrations. 26 ministries of interior that manage from every country the process. So that's one thing why there are differences. There are standards, of course, we have common rules, but then the way you apply it, and each ministry is different. Second, although you say you might have two families or two businessmen or two tourists that have the same sociological profile, but one will have prepared his dossier very well, with all the pieces and things are on time. And it's an administration at the end of the day. We check the hotel, the thing. For the one, it will be perfect. For the other one, there will be 2-3 pieces missing, and it's understandable. You take a hotel reservation, then you change your mind, and that's life. But it's civil servants, they receive an application, they don't know who is who, and if something is not correct, and then it's a negative advice, and the other person who is probably his friend or exactly the same gets admitted, the other one not. This is how it works. But humanely, it's terrible. I understand that. I understand that fully. I mean, it's
so stressful for a person to wait for an answer that you would get it very easily. For example, for me, I get visa for years, like maybe 30 years, 35 years. Every time I applied and got a 5-year visa, but right now, in this situation, everybody is gossiping about one couldn't get it, someone couldn't get it, someone who has a very high standard of living couldn't get it, and we don't understand why it's happening like that. Like maybe servants, it's up to the servants. That's also strange. Some servants would call you. They said you need a good reservation to go for the visa, and sometimes they just deny and send back the passport. That's up to it shouldn't be up to servants. It has to be like a really good standard.
Because they receive
EU standards.
They receive a written file, a digital file. They look at the documents, and there's a margin of interpretation that's there, and that's the problem with the fact that there's a need for visa. I mean, this is why there should be visa liberalization.
There are no quotas, right? No quotas.
No, there are no quotas. But there's a bottleneck because there are so many Turkish citizens that want to go to Europe because you're a European country. I mean, basically, it's not you're not coming from the other side of the world. It's very natural to. I mean, the European Union, I can see it from here, from the window, probably.
Yes.
On the other side of Schengen. Yeah.
Of course,
you can swim. You can swim just today.
I don't advise.
So it's very natural that millions of people who want to go, but you cannot deliver millions of visas.
Of course.
But that also shows how crazy it is to still have the visa.
I think the whole thing. I don't know if you would agree with me, Ambassador, but I think the whole issue is coming to a certain maturation. How do you say maturation in English? It's becoming mature at the moment because there's a lot of movement in the world, and I think both Europe and Turkey, we're both in a changing world. We've just found ourselves in a completely new ball game, and I think it's the right time to start maybe moving in a direction of let's try to see what we can do further, without having to deal with all of the do we do the negotiation, because even in Europe now with the German Chancellor and the Italian Prime Minister coming with new ideas about how maybe European Union should change, etc., things are moving quite fast. So let's be patient. I think things will happen quite
Hopefully.
soon. Hopefully.
Yeah, let's
we'll see
be
how it goes.
open. Of course, we have government policies, and this is what we represent as ambassadors and diplomats. But it's very important. Let's keep open, creative, because everything changes. Let's look sometimes things differently than we have looked at it in the past. That's very important. Always be prepared to have a fresh look at things and. And indeed, maybe, why should we need visa? And then what's the real risk? How many migrants might come? I'm not sure we looked at that very seriously. I don't think we really studied that. Just believe that no visa, millions of Turks will arrive in Europe. I don't think there's been a serious study and an evaluation of that.
Yeah. One thing about this issue of visas and migrants, etc., is why don't we have more Belgian people coming to Bodrum? You know why? Because very well we have this little village of Swedes. Mm-hmm. We have a Dutch village, we have a German village, and we have Brits who've created their own little villages in Bodrum or in different parts of Muğla.
Also, my compound is like maybe 70% of Swedes.
Are Swedes. What they do, we have a lot of hospitals here in Bodrum, private hospitals. So they have agreements with the insurance companies in Europe. So the Belgian person who's a retiree buys a home here, has the hospital, probably faster hospital delivery than in Belgium. I'm sorry to say this, Belgian ambassador, but probably. And they've created a Swedish, Dutch, German, British compounds. Mm-hmm. Why don't we work on this? Try to create, you buy a house first of all, and then bring the rest of the Belgians.
Thank you. It's a great point.
Buying a house, no problem. Whenever I have the money, I can do that.
I was happily help you to buy it for it.
I will call you whenever I can do it.
No, but this compound idea with Belgian, because they can live their retirement at home, part of their retirement.
I will show some photos.
Don't go there.
Frankly, culturally, that's not going to happen for Belgians. Belgian compounds don't even start, they won't do it.
They won't do it?
We don't do that.
Why?
Because Belgians don't have this mentality like we go somewhere and we remain amongst us, we have a nice little village and we...
Interesting, the Dutch do.
But we are very different in that respect. I have not seen that anywhere in the world. You would have places in Spain and so on where there are a lot of Belgians, but this compound idea and you go to, like a Belgian pub, that's not happening. It's not in our way of doing things. Okay. We will have, we're only 11.5 million, but the thing I noticed traveling around the world is you have Belgians, you don't have many, but you would have Belgians everywhere. Everywhere you go there would be a few Belgians. Yes. But you don't have this phenomenon where, there's the Belgian neighborhood or...
So you're explorers more, they like to explore
a bit
the
more
country.
Individual, we like to blend in a bit more, so,
mingle with the local
mingle
people.
more, and that's... So for Belgians, I would not go in that direction, it will be a failure.
Okay.
Before the interview, I asked him about... he is first coming to Bodrum, and it's a day like that, it's all rainy, grey clouds, and he told me that you could say it,
It's true that there's a tendency that wherever I go somewhere for the first time, even if it's a dry or desert, it rains.
It rains. Okay.
So there have to be a way, to ask him to come when there's a drought happening.
Exactly. Whenever there's drought, we have an interview with the master.
He brings the rain with. That's a strange coincidence.
Ambassador, it was a delight having you on the program. And is there any message from your side for people who live in Bodrum and Muğla on how you think we can improve relations or just add to whatever exists, etc. From your side, how do you see things?
I would say be as you are. The Belgian tourists would come here to come for what's particular to Türkiye. The hospitality, that's fantastic. There are many places in Europe that are great, maybe nowadays a little bit cheaper, but you don't have this Turkish touch of hospitality. This warmth, this something we miss in many places in Europe, I believe. And then use all the assets that you have. That's really, think of not just the beautiful scenery and the real estate that I hear all the time, but archaeology, history, your food, your agriculture, that's really embedded in the country for centuries. Use all that, make a beautiful blend that will really attract high quality tourism. go in that direction, and then it will be even more fantastic place than it is already.
Well, thank you very much for that. It's great to have ambassadors working and residing in Turkey who like the place, who travel, who make an effort to see the country, to meet the people, the culture itself. So it's great to have you, Ambassador. Thank you for
Great
coming
to
to
meet you.
Bodrum and for meeting with us. And hopefully we'll introduce you to everybody in Muğla through our podcast, and hope to have you and your family back here when it's a little bit more sunny. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks a lot.
Emekli Büyükelçimizi ve Belçika Ankara Büyükelçisini ağırladık. Çok güzel bir sohbet oldu. İzlediğiniz için çok teşekkür ederiz. Böyle videoları daha çok izlemek istiyorsanız lütfen takip tuşuna basın. Ama unutmayın, 2 ayrı video çekiyoruz. Bodrum Bizden Sorulur videoları ayrı, podcastler ayrı. Podcast'imize konuk olmak istiyorum, ben Bodrum'la ilgili fikirlerim var, bunları anlatmak istiyorum diyorsanız lütfen bize yazın, ulaşın. Sizleri ağırlamaktan da büyük mutluluk duyacağız. Bizi izlediğiniz için teşekkür ederiz. Haftaya görüşürüz.
Görüşmek üzere.